couple interesting things came out of this week's Monday Night Raw, so let's talk about it.
The Rock says, The Rock says,
After a crazy bad blood, Raw kind of wanted to pick up where they left off. So CM Punk opens the show and he comes out and he's thanking the fans and talking about how he's so beat up that he couldn't even go down to the ring. This was cool considering, I mean, they spent so much time washing down the significance of a Hell in a Cell match. And CM Punk, I feel like, did a great job here of basically talking about how beat up that match can make you, how much it really threatens your career every single time you step into it. I mean, I remember back in the day, you didn't really see guys being on Raw or SmackDown immediately after a Hell in a Cell. A lot of times, if they were there, they were banged up, they had bandages and all types of stuff all over them. So this made sense here. But what I found interesting, it almost seemed like CM Punk was threatening retirement. Now, don't get me wrong, the match was crazy, and given his age, I mean, we know his storyline, right? But for him to even say, he basically put it like, I don't know if I'm coming back. And for a second, he almost got me. He almost got me like Mark Henry did with the Salmon jacket, right? But what was interesting is Seth Rollins interrupts him right when he finishes his promo, and they have a face-off. And that was pretty much a tall tale sign that he's not going anywhere. And we're getting the CM Punk versus Seth Rollins match very, very soon. Personally, I hope that's a WrestleMania match, but CM Punk can lock up with anybody. I mean, that could even be a CM Punk versus John Cena match at WrestleMania. Which one would you guys like to see more? After the face-off, Seth Rollins goes down to the ring, and he pretty much just eggs onto the crowd and talks about how he can't wait to kick CM Punk's ass whenever he gets better. But, of course, we know why Seth Rollins is here. He's here to egg the crowd up and get them hyped up because he's calling out Bronson Reed. I can't believe we're about to go into a Bronson Reed versus Seth Rollins program. I mean, if you would have told me this like 7 months ago, I would think you're crazy. They had no idea how they wanted to book Bronson Reed. And ever since he attacked CM Punk, the dude has main evented Raw. He's been in key programs. He's featured almost every single week. Hey, if this was the same guy that we had in New Japan when he fought Kazuchika Okada and beat him clean, it's about time. Personally, I feel like it's about time Bronson Reed actually gets his flowers. So I can't wait to see what this Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed match. This might be the biggest example of speed versus size and power that we can get on the main roster, that we can get in a main event type of program. So I'm looking forward to it. There was a strange segment backstage between Miz and the Final Testament. And I only call it strange because in a previous video, I mentioned the Y6 and what was next for them. And I said that they could possibly be going up against the Judgment Day because I really didn't know what else you could really do with them at this point. But I never thought about the Final Testament. I didn't think about what type of storylines they could get into with them. I mean, they're kind of somewhat the same type of group. I mean, Karrion Kross likes to do the whole spooky, dark type of character anyway. So I think these two factions having a feud would be pretty interesting. So anyway, Miz and Karrion Kross are having a discussion backstage talking about what happened last week when he turned on R-Truth. And there was a glitch on the screen, a Y6 glitch. So that's hinting to me that they're going after the New Testament, the Final Testament, simply because they convinced The Miz to turn heel on R-Truth, as if The Miz ever need convincing to be a heel. Then R-Truth comes in, he interrupts the whole thing, and he's trying to understand. Well, he pretty much says he accepts and understands why Miz attacked him. He says, but he tries to convince Miz that he's no longer a member of the Judgment Day. Of course, Miz is like, I turned heel because the awesome truth is over. So Miz challenges R-Truth to a match, and I guess that's the match we're getting next week. I don't care about this per se. I am interested in seeing what the Y6 does. Does the Y6 get involved next week? Do we eventually get a Uncle Howdy versus Karrion Kross match? Do we get an Eric Rowan and Dexter Lumis versus the Authors of Pain. You know what? Come to think about it, I don't mind that. I don't mind Authors of Pain against Loomis and Rowan. Is he still going by Rowan? Rowan. Going back a little bit to the Seth Rollins moment in the ring, he was interrupted by Jey Uso. Now, Jey Uso had his match against Xavier Woods for the IC belt, but there was a moment where they locked eyes in the middle of the ring and Seth just walked by him as if they had some beef. And at first, I thought, okay, they're kind of going back to the bloodline thing. But if you remember at WrestleMania 40, Jay and Seth were pretty much on the same side, helping Cody beat Roman. So I found it interesting that they kind of look like Seth may have some beef with Jay going into this match. Are we gonna see? Could this possibly lead to a Seth Rollins IC run? I mean, his last Intercontinental Championship run was decent. So I don't see why this can't be a thing. But if we get to a point where Jey Uso is main eventing shows with Seth Rollins, maybe the main event moniker's actually starting to stick. Yeet! So Jey Uso takes on Xavier Woods in a pretty decent match. I don't think anyone actually expected Xavier to win, considering we're telling the story of the breakup of the New Day. Can't believe I'm saying that. After the match, Jey Uso picks up Xavier and offers to dap him up. I think he's already dapped up Kofi. And Xavier just wasn't having it. He just bumped him out of the way, got out the ring, and him and Kofi just started going at it. And out of nowhere, the badass Braun Breaker comes in and spears the brakes of Jey Uso. I'm so glad this. I personally, I don't want to see a babyface Braun Breaker. At least not yet. He's too good in his heel character. He's way too good. He's way too strong. All of his accolades, all the skill sets that he brings to the table, it fits a heel persona so much. So when he came out and did the whole face turn with Jey Uso last week, I was like, y'all just really killed some momentum of this guy because you don't have anybody for him to, any heels for him to go up against that's actually going to make it worthwhile. But luckily, that was not the case, and Braun is for sure a heel, and it looks like he's going back after his Intercontinental Championship. So I wouldn't mind seeing Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso too. But not only did he take down Jey, he took down Kofi and Xavier, which I think would be cool because once we saw Braun attacking Jey, Kofi told Xavier, hey, we need to go help him, which I don't really understand why. It was a one-on-one. You got it, big dog. I'm not helping you in a one-on-one fight. And Xavier pretty much said the same thing. I'm not going back down there for what? That's his problem. So Kofi goes down there and he tries to help him out. He get folded in half for his efforts, rolls out of the ring. Xavier had wanted nothing to do with this. And he may have got the worst of the situation because Braun goes out of the ring and runs all the way back around and spears that man in half. And he didn't regularly spear him. He pretty much just hit him like a truck and he ran him into the barricade. I mean, the dude just straight football pushed him. Straight blocked him. So Xavier could get back to the back, holding his ribs like, I didn't want anything to do with that. You got me speared. You got me in this situation. And maybe that can set up some type of furthering the fall of New Day. I really got to stop saying that. Lastly, we get to the main event. Gunther taking on Sami Zayn for the World Heavyweight Championship. No one thought that Sami Zayn was actually going to win the championship, but we knew that it was going to be a match worthy of the main event, and boy, was it ever. Look, Sami might be at the level of Daniel Bryan when it comes to just being able to be an underdog and fight from the bottom. And no matter how big his opponent, how over his opponent, how overpowered his opponent, he always had the chance to win. And this is one of those matches. We already know that Sami beat Gunther at WrestleMania. We know he ended the legendary Intercontinental Championship reign. And even though we may know that wasn't going to happen this time, there was always that chance, especially after he got hit with one massive powerbomb, 1-2 kick out, just for Gunther to follow it up with a lariat into another powerbomb, and then Sami kicks out at 1. I mean, throughout the entire match, it was back and forth. I think, other than maybe Pete Dunne, Ilya Dragunov, I think Sami Zayn might have the best chemistry with Gunther thus far. And they put on an absolute classic for a Monday Night Raw. I mean, it was If anything on this show, I would say go back and watch that. That was a hell of a match. WrestleMania caliber of match, in my opinion. Eventually, Gunther put Sammy away with the sleeper hold, in which I'm a very big fan of the fact that Gunther can end matches with just random moves. He can chop you, he can slap you, he can hit you with a clothesline, he can hit you with the power bomb, he can hit you with the T-Rex suplex, he can hit you with a splash, he can hit you with a sleeper, and all of those things can end the match. He might be the most dangerous person on the roster at this point. After the match is over, Gunther goes up to the stage, he holds up the World Heavyweight Championship, only to be interrupted by Mr. Lakota Jamal Woods himself. And he comes out and holds up his title, and they're standing face to face for the whole crown jewel thing. I'm gonna say one thing about Cody. I didn't like the fact that he wasn't pissed off. He just got jumped after Bad Blood, after going through a war with the Bloodline. He gets beat up by his bus outside by Kevin Owens, a person he calls a friend, and he shows up on Monday Night Raw, really not mentioning much of it. There was no look on his face that he was angry, that he was frustrated. He was same old cheesing Cody Rhodes. Bro, come on, man. Come on. Come on. This man just beat the brakes off of you in front of your bus. That's essentially coming to your house and beating you up in your driveway. Bro, you gonna have to... Cody, I'm tired of having this conversation with you, big dog. I'm really getting tired of it. You my boy. I remember the New Japan and the Ring of Honor and all the stuff you done did. I know all that stuff. I know the AEW stuff, the matches you put on. You're not giving me that. You're not bringing me that to WWE. It was cool before. It was cool. Speaking of which, I feel like a lot of people aren't appreciating that we're getting Cody versus Gunther. And I get it. Nobody really cares about Crown Jewel. No one wants to see the belt. I have a hot take. I actually kind of like the belt for a trophy. Not to carry it around, but as a trophy, I don't think it looks too bad, but whatever. I believe that Cody and Gunther are going to have the same caliber matchup that they did a couple years ago in the Royal Rumble. We remember that was like a 5-star match in the middle of the Royal Rumble. So there's no reason why they won't give this same exact caliber of a face-off here. Now, personally, I think Gunther's going to win. I mean, him continuing to stack up his accolades is only going to make him seem like that much more of a dominant champion. And the more accolades he has, the better the World Heavyweight Championship looks. Cody, on the other hand, doesn't really need to win the championship. He's already pretty much the face of the company. So him winning that in Riyadh would do nothing for his career, to be honest. But at the same time, it would do the exact opposite. It would completely boost up Gunther to even more superstardom than he already is. I mean, think about it. He has the longest reigning United Kingdom Championship reign. He has the longest Intercontinental Championship reign. King of the Ring, World Heavyweight Championship. If you can now add Crown Jewel Champion to that, granted, it doesn't really mean anything, but he can put on his resume that he beat the WWE Champion. That's saying something. And that is it for Monday Night Raw. I'm not gonna lie, the whole 2-hour new time window was a little bit jarring. I think I speak for most of wrestling fans watching the show when they was kind of like, oh snap, we're done. We don't have any. It's not another hour of random backstage segments and crappy promos and storylines that don't actually really go nowhere. You know, as a matter of fact, a lot of people have been saying that 3 hours is better. No, give me 2 hours. Give me 2 hours every day of the week. And I hope SmackDown does the same thing. There's a rumor that people are saying that SmackDown's going to 3 hours. I sincerely hope that's not the case. But hey, listen, I'm glad you guys came back to check out with your boy. Make sure you guys leave a comment. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for listening as always. And as always, remember to be safe, be kind, be blessed. Peace.